these finally actually releasing? We first saw these on Hiroshi Fujiwara's feet back in 2021, and since then we've just been kind of waiting to see what happens. But then at the end of last year, it was all but confirmed that the follow-up to the wildly popular triple Fragment Travis Scott and Jordan collaboration would be releasing in 2025. But now we're here almost at the end of 2025. We've passed what was thought to be the initial release date of this shoe back in September. Not only is there no public release date for these shoes yet, it also turns out that these might be one of the most limited Travis Scott sneakers to ever release. So the question is, are these shoes actually worth the hype? And are they worth the insane resale prices? This is the new Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Low. 2025 triple collaboration sneakers are not as odd as they once were. In fact, this year we had a pair of Asics released that had 7 different collaborators on it. Actually, let me grab it. It's a pretty fire pair. But back in 2021, when the first round of Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1s released, it was not something that was that commonly done. And actually, to be fair, it's still not often that you see this caliber of collaborators working on one pair of footwear. Obviously, Jordan Brand is involved because it's a Jordan sneaker. You've also got Travis Scott, one of the biggest artists out there right now and one of the biggest collaborators and biggest influences in footwear. But you've also got Fragment, the brainchild of Hiroshi Fujiwara and one of the most iconic fashion brands out there. So to give you some background on Fragment, if you're not familiar, or maybe you just think of it as a Jordan collaborator, Fragment Design was an imprint started by Hiroshi Fujiwara back in 2003. Fragment sort of fuses streetwear and luxury together in a bold yet minimal way. And one of the reasons that Fragment has cemented themselves as a staple in the fashion industry is because Fragment has collaborated with many notable partners. To give you a few recent examples, obviously Jordan Brand and Nike, but also Pokemon. And one of my personal grail sneakers is actually the Fragment Air Jordan 1s from 2014. And that's actually one of the reasons why I love this original Fragment Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Low collaboration so much, because it reminds me so much of those Fragments from 2014, a shoe which I never was able to have, and as the price continues to go up, I'm probably never gonna be able to have. But to bring it back to this triple collaboration, we get what is truly a shoe that seems like it's a perfect mix of all 3 brands. It's obviously a Jordan sneaker base, so it's Jordan at its core, but it's also got Cactus Jack branding, it's got Fragment branding, and it seems like the brand identities of both Travis Scott and Fragment are pretty evenly spread throughout the sneaker. No matter where you look, you're seeing something from both companies, which is really cool. It does seem like this is truly a collaboration. But that alone does not justify the $1,900 that I spent on this pair of sneakers from Stadium Goods. I realize that is a crazy amount, and what's wild is that I actually had the chance to buy it for cheaper like 2 months ago, but I thought that the prices would go down because I thought the shoe was actually going to release, but then it didn't, so the prices started to go up. And $1,900 is truly the cheapest pair that I could find from a legitimate source. So please subscribe to the channel, because even if I sell this pair, I'm gonna lose money on it. It's not even my size, it's an 8.5, like it fits, but it's not like a perfect fit. I should stop complaining, this is a dream job. I don't know what I'm talking about. I get to buy sneakers for a living. So there you go, it's the best. $1,900 still hurts though. But with that being said, let's talk about when you should be able to try and buy a pair of these for yourself. And try is a very important word there because it's not gonna be easy. So the new Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Lows are supposed to release in November. Unlike the last release date that we heard, which was September 20th, which seemed like a very specific day, this time around they're giving us a time frame. I don't think even they're giving us this time frame. It just seems like that's a time frame, November. It could be November 1st, like right after Complex Con. It could be November 30th. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that I have a pair of these and they don't say sample on them anywhere, that these shoes will be releasing, but we just don't know exactly the day. Now with that being said, Sneaker News is reporting that there may actually be a release date, and that release date would be November 8th. Now there are a few reasons as to why they say they believe that. The first is that there are official images of this shoe saying that the shoe will release in Tokyo. We know that it probably will have a release in the United States and in Tokyo because obviously Travis Scott and Jordan are based in the US and Hiroshi Fujiwara and Fragment is based in Japan. And apparently Travis Scott's Circus Maximus tour is headed to Tokyo on November 8th. So there is a chance that these shoes will be releasing on November 8th according to Sneaker News. I cannot confirm that. I literally just read their article and I'm just relaying the information to you. So the plot thickens, and what's worse is that we don't even know where exactly the shoe is releasing. There have been many rumors that the shoe is only releasing on Travis Scott's website, which I don't think is completely out of the realm of possibility, but as we've seen, sometimes things release on Travis Scott's website and then a couple weeks later we get a very limited release on the SNKRS app. We don't know. No one is saying anything. It is frustrating, especially if you're trying to grab a pair of these for retail. And what's more frustrating is that these may be the most limited Travis Scotts out there. The rumored production number or production run is 40,000 pairs, which sounds like a lot, but when you consider how many pairs usually released with a Travis Scott release, it's in the hundreds of thousands, or 150,000-ish. For example, the medium olive Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s apparently had around 150,000 units made, and the reverse mochas had around 180,000 units made. So 40,000 units is a very, very small number. Obviously, the most limited pair would be the Travis Scott PlayStation Dunks. Like there was what, like 40 of those, 20 something of those. I think it was 24 for the year actually. But I say all that to say that this will probably be one of the most limited pairs of Travis Scotts that we've ever seen. One, because the quantity is so low, and two, because it might only release on Travis Scott's website, which honestly is harder to grab shoes on than the sneakers app, in my opinion. As far as pricing goes, it does seem like this pair will retail for the standard $150. So the good news is they're not gonna completely overcharge you if you get it for retail. Can't say the same for the resellers, but for Nike and for Jordan Brand, it's standard. Of course, if you want to be like me and grab them for resale, maybe you missed out on the release and you're watching this after the fact, or maybe you want to buy them early and spend lots and lots of money on them, I've made sure to link them through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. Even if you just have a morbid curiosity in how much these sneakers cost, click that affiliate link, check them out, and I don't know, maybe you'll decide that you don't need to pay rent this month. All right, but before we get any farther in the shoes, let's first take a look at the box, because Travis Scott does go pretty all out on his packaging. So like many other Travis Scott collaborations, you do have a clear sleeve, which in this case features blue Travis Scott, Nike Air, and Fragment design branding. As a hypebeast, I'm not even gonna deny it anymore. I love this, I think this is awesome. When you remove the sleeve, you've got this light sail colored or very light cream colored matte box with the Nike branding printed on top in gloss white. Now, like I mentioned before, I was only able to grab a size 8.5 because that was the only size that was within, I hate to call it reasonable, but reasonable pricing on a website. And again, that website was Stadium Goods. So I went 8.5. I can fit it, but it's not ideal. Now the official name of this collaboration is the Air Jordan 1 Low OGSP, and the official colorway is Sail Military Blue Black. Inside the box, you've got some more subtle touches, like the inside of the box being Fragment Blue with the Nike swoosh, and actually the word swoosh printed on the bottom of the box top in pink. The paper also is co-branded and comes in pink, and attached to your sneakers, you also get some other lace options like pink, blue, and cream. But with the box out of the way, let's dive into the materials that make up this sneaker, and starting off around the toe on the mudguard, you've got this surprisingly thick, pretty heavily tumbled off-white or sail colored leather. The edges of the leather do seem to be undyed, and that's true for every leather panel on the shoe, which actually brings this nice consistency of color there, a very subtle hit of like sort of a brownish pink. And that's true for all of the leather panels on the shoe, whether it's the back heel tab or the Nike swoosh. And actually, compared to a standard pair of Air Jordan 1 Lows, the quality of the shoe does seem kind of like a step up, which it should be for a super limited pair of sneakers. Not only does the leather feel a little bit nicer than a standard pair, but you also seem to have a better build quality. Like I'm seeing like one very small glue stain around the toe, but you can't really notice it. There's not many glue stains, there's not really any straggler stitching details, there's no areas that I'm like, that looks bad. Well, there's a straggler stitch right there, but it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's not like a handmade leather shoe. It's still a mass-produced pair of sneakers, even if that mass production is lower than their standard mass production, but it does feel nice. And actually, if you guys are interested in learning about leather quality for shoes, there's a couple different people I want to recommend. First of all, Rose Anvil. His channel is amazing, and you learn so much from his channel. I'll link it down below. And also, I dropped a video where I actually talked to a leather expert about leather on sneakers. And actually, if you guys are really interested in that video in particular, I may do a full podcast episode with him. I didn't think about that till right now, but that might be dope. Oh, speaking of my podcast, this is a somewhat unplanned plug, but I love plugging the podcast, so here we go. It's called the Shoes Off Podcast. We just had Salehi Bembry on as a guest. He talks about some of the behind the scenes with collaborating, which is super cool. We had Jeff Staple on the week before. We've got Brendan Dunn coming up. We had Steven Smith on a couple weeks ago, who designed like all of the Yeezys. We've got a bunch of your favorite YouTubers on there. It's one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on. I'll link it in the description below, and maybe one day we'll have Hiroshi Fujiwara or one of the heads of Nike, or maybe even Travis Scott. Probably not Travis Scott, but I can dream. But all that aside, the quality of this shoe is good for a pair of Jordans. It's actually better than most. Moving up from the mudguard to the toe, this tumble texture becomes more apparent. You've got some perforated holes, which I've seen people are using as ways to legit check the shoe online, which I guess makes sense. Continuing back in the shoe to the eye stay, you've got more leather panels in the same sort of off-white sail color, and weaving through the eyelets, you've got these flat black laces, which do seem to have a light wax texture. Now, these are the laces that came pre-started in the shoe. Again, you've got 3 other lace options if you decide to switch them out. I think if I am to keep these, I still don't know. It's a lot of money to spend on a pair of sneakers I'm gonna wear and then beat. I may actually switch out the laces to like the pink ones, or even the cream ones, kind of like my original Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Lows. I'm not totally sure, but I don't think I'd leave it with black. The black isn't bad though, and it does provide a nice pop of contrast, because there's no other very obvious black on the shoe. I mean, there are black hits, but they're very small. Now, at the bottom of the laces, you do have this unique detail, which is not done on any of the other Travis Scott collaboration sneakers, which makes me think that it is a Fragment hit. You've got this very short sort of braided lace tied together on the bottom part of the lace. You can untie it if you want, but it's this nice sort of additional detail. I believe it could be a detail inspired by kinbaku, which is Japanese rope art. That would be my guess. Obviously, Fragment's a Japanese company, so that would be my thought. But hey, if you guys actually know, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm sure the sneakers app or Travis Scott's website or whoever will tell us what that detail is when the official images actually come out. But as of right now, that's my guess. I think it's a kinbaku detail, but don't quote me on that, because it's a guess. But moving inside the shoe, you've got this bright fragment blue sock liner. The insole of the shoe comes in pink with the Nike Air branding on the heel. Pretty standard insole. Nothing that special, however, I will say that the pink does provide some nice contrast when you're looking at the inside of the shoe. The insole on the last pair came in blue, so it's a nice little contrasting hit. Unfortunately, you can't see it when you're wearing the shoe, so there's that. But now let's get into sizing and fit. And unfortunately, like I said, I was only able to grab a size 8.5 and not a size 9, which is my true size. Now, with that being said, I do have other size 8.5 Air Jordan 1 lows that I wasn't able to grab in my true size. That's unfortunately, as a sneakerhead, something that we're all probably pretty familiar with. You grab the sizes around your size if you can't grab your actual size. Comparing this to those, it feels the same. It is an OG Air Jordan 1 low, so it does have a slightly longer fit than like the pairs that you probably find pretty commonly at Foot Locker. But I would say overall, the fit is still true to size. True to size, Seth strikes again. And if you want to grab a pair of these, grab your true size, or again, whatever size is close enough. You guys know the struggle. If you're offered a pair for retail and it's like a 10 and you're a 9, you're gonna take the 10. You do what you have to do. You may have also noticed my fire pair of socks that I'm rocking in the on-foot portions of this video. This is a pair of socks inspired by this colorway of the Air Jordan 1 lows. They're actually available on Apothecary's website right now through the link in the description below. Use code Seth for $10 off of your first purchase. That means you can grab this pair, which is usually 15 bucks, for $5 if you use that code. So check them out. Also, if you're familiar with Tagalog, you might have noticed my shirt, Lasang Medyas. This is from our recent Babies collaboration in Philly. It means tastes like socks. It's a whole big thing. You guys got to check out our promo video, which we dropped on our Instagram. We're also dropping our Filipino American Heritage Month collection on our website. Our company is very, very rooted in Filipino culture, so we wanted to drop a collection of socks inspired by Filipino mythology. My favorite one is probably this one. You've also got this brown pair, which I think would go great with the Travis Scotts. There are also 2 other pairs in the collection if you guys want to grab any of these pairs. Again, apothecary.com, use code Seth on your first purchase, get $10 off. Completely went off track there. But continuing back on the shoe, you've got more of this heavily tumbled or even pebbled leather on the midfoot in that same sail color. On top of that, on the lateral side, you've got this oversized backwards Nike swoosh in fragment blue, which I absolutely love. On this colorway, you've got blue on the lateral side, but then on the medial side, like most other Travis Scott's, you've got a much more standard Nike swoosh. Underneath the swoosh, you've got the Cactus Jack branding in a very subtle actually, tan or sand colored print. And then just below that on sort of the top of the midsole, you've got this very small print in black that says FA25 MNJDLS 130 Travis Hiroshi, and then it has the tooling code. This is one of the fragment details that Hiroshi uses on a lot of his collaborations. It's inspired by, I believe, some sort of manufacturing detail. Obviously, it's got the tooling code, so it's got some information on it there, but it's a nice little subtle touch that I like a lot, and it's something that I always look for on Fragment sneakers. But then we move around to the heel of the sneaker. Of course, you've got 2 leather panels. You've got your heel panel, which comes in that same cream color, and then you've got your fragment blue leather panel towards the top of the shoe. The left shoe comes with the Travis Scott or Cactus Jack branding. You've got Cactus Jack written out in the blue panel on the top, and then the little sicko mode face on the bottom. And then on the right shoe, you've got the Wings logo embroidered in white, and then on the bottom, you've got the Fragment logo pressed into the back of the heel in black. It is the same branding and placement as the original Fragment Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 lows. Now, the high top version, unfortunately, I was never able to grab, and I probably will never be able to grab because it's thousands and thousands of dollars. It's a pair that I like. Do I need to spend $3,000 on it? Probably not, so I'll probably never grab it. So I don't know offhand how different that shoe is to this shoe. I'll have my editor Tim pop up some images of that shoe on the screen so you can actually see it and kind of compare yourself. But this new pair absolutely does feel like it's in the same family as the last 2 collaborations. Then continuing down on the sneaker to the tooling, you've got this darker cream midsole, which is found on the original pair as well. And then on the outsole of the sneaker, you've got this fragment blue, which is a really, really nice bright hit that I love. And those are really all the details that I can find on this shoe. Let me check the production date, actually. I'm interested in that. So according to the tag, this particular pair was manufactured between March 19th, 2025 and May 7th, 2025. All right, there you go. So are the Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 lows worth the money? Well, I feel like that really depends on how much money you're paying for them. It's also a tough question because it's fashion and everyone's fashion sense is different. In my opinion, if I got these for retail, I'd be stoked. I love this shoe. Since seeing it back in 2021, that first leaked image, I was really excited about it. It's a pair that I've been wanting for a while. For that $150 retail price, dope. Now for the $1,900 something price that I did pay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the shoe. It's a nice shoe, I like it a lot, but $2,000 is a mortgage or rent payment. It's not something that I really wanna spend on a pair of shoes that I'm not absolutely in love with. I get it if it's like a grail pair that I've been hunting for years. I actually would be happy to pay that for the original Fragment Air Jordan 1s from 2014. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would pay it begrudgingly. But for these, it's a tougher sell. And I think for you, it really depends on what you're willing to pay. Will the price drop when these release? I don't know. The price has continually gone up. Surprisingly, I didn't expect that at all. And I don't know how much higher it's gonna go. When they release, will it be cheaper? most likely, but I just can't tell you for sure. In terms of the actual quality of the shoe and the details and the colors, I think they did an amazing job. I think they knocked it out of the park. Is it one of my top collaborations of the year? I'm not totally sure, but it is up there. But hey, at this point, I would love to know your thoughts on the upcoming Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 lows. Is it a pair that you're trying to grab for yourself? And if you're not able to grab it, would you pay resale on it? So let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, make sure to subscribe to my podcast channel. Check out the Salehi episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.